Hey guys, before we get started with this week's show, I just wanted to mention to you real quick that we're doing a lot more with YouTube lately. If you go to ecomcrew.com/YouTube, you can check out all the videos that Dave and I have been uploading there. We have videos on Amazon and importing and all kinds of other stuff. ecomcrew.com/YouTube, and then just click on the subscribe button. Anytime we add a new video, you'll be notified. Now on with the show. This is Mike, and welcome to episode number 148 of the EcomCrew podcast. You can go to ecomcrew.com/148 to get to the show notes for this episode. And today we're going to be talking about how digital products can apply to your e-commerce business. This is something that I think everyone should listen to. People discount this way too much and don't think about how digital stuff can help bolster their e-commerce business in so many ways. And along the way, we're going to be talking about our new digital product for EcomCrew called EcomCrew Premium, which you can find at ecomcrew.com/premium. We're getting rid of all of our individual courses and making one major subscription thing. So basically, EcomCrew Premium will be a subscription that will give you access to everything EcomCrew has to offer. No more individual courses and ticket prices. We'll talk about that at the end. But the bulk of this episode is to talk about how digital products, blogs, courses, podcasts, and lead magnets, and all these different things can apply to your e-commerce business to really prop up and bolster your e-commerce business in ways that you probably weren't thinking about, even if you're just an Amazon seller or if you're selling on Shopify or everything in between. This is really, really important. And it's so important that I got Dave Bryant to come join me today. Really looking forward to hopping into this conversation right after the intro. Talk to you soon.
Welcome to the EcomCrew podcast, hosted by Mike Jackness and Dave Bryant, who together run e-commerce businesses that generate 8 figures annually. Mike and Dave take pride in running a podcast that isn't just fluff, talking about specific products, problems, and real-world solutions. In the words of one of our favorite reviews, this podcast is like a playbook for e-commerce. You can take any episode and spend the next month trying to implement it. So without further ado, here's the EcomCrew.
Dave Bryant, how's it going, my friend?
Going good. Happy to be back in Vancouver.
Yeah, man. You're finally back on Pacific Coast time. We're both in the same time zone. We both have relatively good internet. I actually just ordered upgraded internet because you were making me self-conscious about my internet. But yeah, man, it's great to have you back on this time zone. And I've been the one doing all the traveling lately, so I haven't had much of a time to talk EcomCrew with you since we've been back. But as soon as I get back with this next trip, we'll be doing a lot more EcomCrew stuff together.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to actually getting back on the podcast, hopefully at least a couple times a month, because obviously now being in the same time zone and with reliable internet, it's way easier.
Definitely. So today we wanted to talk about digital products and how they can affect your e-commerce business. But we were trying to figure out a way. You guys know from listening to the podcast that our main goal of the podcast is to provide value. But we also wanted to figure out a way to talk about our new EcomCrew Premium subscription and how can we wrap all that into a podcast that provides value and gives us an opportunity to be some salespeople all at the same time. And this is what we came up with. So, but I do think regardless, this is one of these podcasts where you might hear that and hit stop and go to the next one. I'd highly encourage you to listen to this. I'm actually bringing 15 plus years as a digital marketer to this podcast episode. It's something that I feel pretty strongly about. And I think this is something that everyone should listen to. You can pause it at the end, the last 5 minutes, when we're talking about what we're doing with EcomCrew Premium. But I think the stuff that we're going to talk about here to start with will be incredibly important. So yeah, let's dig right into it. I'm just curious, Dave, because I've never really talked to you about this specifically. What background do you have with like digital products? I mean, outside of e-commerce, I mean, I know obviously you had Chinese importing for a while, and we merged that in the EcomCrew, and we're doing that together now. But have you done anything besides that as well?
I mean, my entrepreneurial journey began with digital products when I was 14 and selling pirated software. This was about 1999 when pirated software is not really a big thing. And I forget what I was selling. It was
everybody was doing it.
I know. And the worst of it was I was like, to get access to the software, they had to click a link in some banner ad and then find a word on a page. And this was back right before the internet bubble. So people were paying stupid amounts, like $1 per click or something. And so that was kind of my intro to digital products. That's not what we're going to talk about today, though. We're going to talk about legal ways to do it. In my previous e-commerce businesses, my real only experience, aside from ChineseImporting.com, when I had the importing course, was basically kind of your traditional ways of digital products, basically an ebook that we did for anchoring.com. And it was basically just, hey, how to pick the right anchor, how to anchor your boat, how to dock your boat, this and that. And that was kind of our lead magnet to get everyone onto our email list. We did it both through people that came to our website and people that bought on eBay. You can actually set it up on eBay. So after somebody orders, they get an email, and then basically users, after they bought an on eBay, they were given the option to kind of sign up for our ebook and then obviously get put into our funnel. And so we did that for 2 or 3 years, and it was really productive, actually. And in terms of getting emails, I think we're getting probably close to 5% conversion rate. And obviously from that, then you can kind of sell them a lot more stuff.
Interesting. It's cool that you've been doing that for 3 years. I actually got a couple more questions from that. I mean, what kind of transpired to make you think of doing that 3 years ago to kind of get the lead magnet thing rolling? Was that just because of some of the previous stuff you had with your hacker software, or did you have some other articles you read, or what kind of made that transpire?
And actually, it was probably longer than 3 years ago. It was probably 5 years ago. And I think who actually kind of inspired me was Pat Flynn on Smart Passive Income. Him basically saying, no, you gotta start collecting emails, and you gotta have your lead magnet. And I remember I thought, well, this doesn't apply to me. He's selling basically courses and digital products. I thought, well, this doesn't apply to me. And then I started to realize, you can do this for e-commerce too. So that was kind of my revelation that, if you have an e-commerce product, you can use a digital product as basically kind of a conduit to sell your physical product.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I mean, this is what we're doing. Obviously, we built our whole e-commerce business really off of this model. So as I was mentioning, I have basically 15, it dates me now. It gets crazy to even be saying I've done anything for 15 years except suck my thumb or something, because I feel old now. But legitimately 15 years. I mean, I started in 2004 or late 2003 doing digital marketing. I didn't even know what I was doing at the time, that it was even going to be digital marketing. It was so much in its infancy. But yeah, I mean, creating websites with information was basically how I got started and how I ended up at this spot. And I've said, and I was actually talking to someone at lunch about this, that this cumulative experience is what's led us to get to where we are in e-commerce so quickly. Like, I feel like we are definitely at a pace that is ahead of the curve with most of the people out there doing e-commerce. And I feel like the total cumulative body of experience that I've had is what has led us to be able to do that. And that information product stuff is really the crux of it. So that's what I really want to kind of dig into today.
And in 2004, were you still doing the poker stuff? Because poker wasn't really a thing, really.
Yeah, we were just getting. Yeah, we started in doing that specifically in January 2004.
Yeah, it's funny. I think people who are kind of, I guess, from the quote unquote traditional internet marketing, where selling digital products, I think in some ways, they're more privy to internet marketing in a lot of ways than people who are only exposed to e-commerce. And you can really combine the two, digital marketing with a physical product. And when you kind of marry the two, you can get really good results. And obviously that's kind of the theme of today's podcast.
Yeah. So I'm going to use tactical.com as a case study because we've talked about it on the podcast before and reiterate kind of what our plans are there. When I first mentioned this, a lot of people thought I was crazy. I think even including you a little bit. But let me kind of go over the whole idea here, which is basically, again, to take all of this experience that I've gained over the period of many years and pulling it all into one thing. And, owning a domain like tactical.com, what I consider to be like a category killing domain name, it's not something that you have to have, but it was something that I had in my back pocket. And it was also a niche that fit everything else that is important to me, things we talked about on the podcast before. But the biggest ones are something that people have a passion about, very important. There's a direct Facebook audience with it, things that people buy more than one of, I can differentiate, et cetera, et cetera. So it was like all these things in a perfect storm. So what we're doing with tactical.com, even though I always talk about tactical.com as being one of our e-commerce niches, if you go to tactical.com, there's nothing for sale on it, at least on the surface. Hey, listen, a blog is a digital product. Just having content out there that you're building is a digital product, whether you're selling something directly or not. And it takes a long time to get traction with a blog. It's the same thing that we're going to talk about here that's happened with EcomCrew. this is the syndrome I call this is writing to yourself, the writing to yourself syndrome. Because for the first 6 to 9 to 12 months, when you launch a new blog, that's pretty much exactly what you're doing because no one is reading it because Google's not going to give you any love to start with. And it's hard to gain social traction to begin with. And it's hard to find your way and know exactly what to write about to begin with. But over time, that switch flips. And we're like in that period right now with Tactical where we're just now starting to rank for like all kinds of crap. Like we've never quote unquote SEO'd for tactical.com because I think the best way to SEO for a blog like that to start with is just to write great content and not worry about ranking for any particular article for the first many months, which is what we've done to just look as natural as possible for Google and then start to push the limits then. But we are ranking for all kinds of like really awesome terms now. And starting to dictate that conversation. And I really want to kind of dig into that some more, but I've been talking for a while. I wanted to let you throw some thoughts on that.
Yeah. So with Tactical, that's purely a blog. I thought you were actually going to use Coloring Club as kind of your example for a digital product. Because I am. I'm
going to talk about that too. Yeah. But yeah, definitely going to talk about Coloring Club for sure.
I guess that's... Sorry to speak over you. I was going to say, I guess that kind of opens the question. What are the types of digital products, I guess, that somebody can either sell or give away as a lead magnet? Like what are, I guess we have a blog, you have an ebook, courses, and memberships. Those I kind of think are the 4 biggies.
Yeah.
Would you add anything onto that?
No, you stole my thunder. I think that the content, would be a 5th. That was like one of the things I was starting with here with tactical.com, but just purely having content, like great content on the internet that organically ranks and people consume and find value out of, I think would be the 5th one of those things.
Yeah.
And the thing I think that's really important here, and the reason I was bringing up the blog to begin with, is that the blog is like the most organic, long-term type traffic strategy. The other ones probably require some direct response advertising to your lead magnet or to your digital product or whatever. So for me, like the root of all of this is having organic traffic that comes in month after month. Same thing that we're doing with EcomCrew. I mean, the articles that you write rank really well, and they're starting to rank even better and better because we're getting more links in and stuff because they're incredibly valuable and good articles. But it takes time, and eventually you're getting all this free traffic that you can then dictate the conversation with. And to me, that's the exciting part of it, because, and what I mean by that specifically is that depending on what you're doing at the moment, you can drive traffic wherever you want. So let me lay out a few scenarios of what that can mean. It can mean, oh, I'm launching a product on Amazon this month, so your link gets updated to your Amazon listing. Or it can mean Amazon suspended me, like God forbid, and I'm now going to dictate or send all my traffic to my Shopify store. Or it can mean that I have an affiliate offer that I want to sell right now. I'm sick of selling physical products because the dollar got really weak or whatever, and now I'm going to sell somebody else's offer, whatever it might be. That traffic is always worth money. And if you have a traffic source within your niche, it can be quite valuable.
Yeah. And I think that's a big key with digital products is that, and this is kind of the big advantage, is that you first kind of need that audience to sell that digital product. And I think that's what you're doing with Tactical, is that you're trying to build that audience, and either you're going to go try to sell a traditional digital product, whether it's a course or a membership or a physical product. But you need to have that audience if you're trying to sell a digital product. And I think that's obviously the big key with the blog, where normally blog and digital product kind of go hand in hand. And that's definitely one of the challenges with e-commerce entrepreneurs, is that normally we just have products and some of us have audiences, but for the most part with Amazon kind of dominating more and more, is that few of us have audiences anymore.
Yeah.
So there's not like one channel where you can simply go sell your digital product on. You need to have that audience first before you can actually sell that product.
Yeah. And I think the reason that a lot of people don't have that audience anymore, to further that point, is that Amazon made it so easy. People saw this like easy money opportunity, which was certainly there for a long time. And
still there.
A lot of people, it's still there for sure. Like obviously it's still there. We have, hopefully it'll be an 8-figure business this year based off of that. But, it makes it so get a little bit lazy and don't think about
Yeah.
the other stuff, because Amazon does make it so easy, but that only works for, while it works. And for me, it's thinking about the bigger picture. And, there's still like a tremendous opportunity out there, in off Amazon searches and traffic and building a list off Amazon in a community that has long-term value, because again, traffic is always money, and that's quite valuable.
Yeah. Yeah. So kind of your process, I guess, is get the traffic to the blog. And then I guess this is any process that somebody can follow if they have a digital product. Get your traffic and then get your digital product created, and then you sell it.
Yeah. So let's kind of go over the things that we're planning to do with Tactical that are basically the revenue generators. And keep in mind here, for every $1,000 in revenue that you make selling digital products, it's the equivalent of selling $10,000 to $15,000 in e-commerce products, right? Because I mean, it's basically 100% profit margin or close to it. So that's something else to keep in mind. The numbers might not sound this sexy, but as Dave always says, and I completely agree, revenues are vanity and profits are sanity. And, having this supporting business can help with that significantly. I mean, especially in a business that generally has 10% net margins, e-commerce, maybe 12%, 15% if you're lucky, being able to add $10,000 a month in digital product revenue to your business can increase your net profit overall by like 10 or 20% in a lot of cases for a lot of businesses. It could be very, very significant. So, and
that's a hard thing with digital products, is that there is definitely that kind of psychological component to it where, you're adding 10 grand and onto your bottom line, and sure, in the back of your head, that's great. But, as you look at your revenue numbers, and everybody tracks a revenue number, you only see your number going up 10 grand a month. You think that you're not doing amazing things, but again, you just have to track that profit, because like you mentioned, digital products, they're not 100% pure profit, because the marketing component of it is so huge to actually get eyes for your product. But they're nowhere close to as low as they are for e-commerce, where, like you mentioned, 10% is fairly average in our industry. With a digital product, if you're not 100%, that's not reasonable, but you're well over 50% even after all your advertising costs.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the other thing that's really cool about digital products is there's no inventory. So there's less risk in having, you don't have to have the cash outlay as well.
Well, I think, and just on that note too, I think, there's a huge inundation of online courses, especially from Amazon sellers and, different e-commerce entrepreneurs, including us. I think we have the best product, of course, but there's a lot of these products out there. And I think part of the reason is the fact that e-commerce is such a huge cash suck, and digital products, they have absolutely no cash outlay really for the most part. And you definitely come into scalability issues with an e-commerce company where, if you want to grow your company to $1 trillion, well, you're going to roughly need 10% of $1 trillion to fund your inventory. And that becomes an issue over time, where with digital products, they're kind of scalable to infinity, because you don't need that cash outlay like you do for a physical products-based company.
Yeah, definitely agree. All right, so let's dig into some more meats and potatoes as far as what is our business plan specifically for Tactical.com. And I see three main revenue sources for Tactical.com. The first being, again, the content angle. And the content angle that has the most potential for making money would be ranking for what I call best of terms. When someone types in best tactical gloves or tactical flashlight or tactical shovel, whatever products it is that we're going to be selling on Tactical.com, and they're doing a search on Google for looking for reviews of these products, and there's lots of these affiliate review sites out there. Just the affiliate revenue off of those terms is quite lucrative. We're already ranking now for a couple of these things. We've got some review pages up that Christiana's been working with us in the Philippines writing, and they've done just an incredible job. I mean, I'm still just tickled pink with the job that they've done over there. I mean, we send the products out to them. They do all the testing, put a ton of work into it, looking at the products, taking pictures of the products, reviewing them, and writing a legitimate review, unlike a lot of the stuff that's out there, which is just complete BS. So our stuff's starting to rank higher already than a lot of the established content out there, and it's just going to get better. But the thing that's like really cool as far as a revenue driver for us, not only is it the Amazon affiliate revenue, but we can also, again, we can dictate that traffic. So our product can be the number one rated product. It does require an FTC disclaimer on the site now to do that, which doesn't change the click-through rate or anything. It just has to be there. Just want people to make sure they're aware of that. But, certainly our product, for this disinterested party, seemingly from the visitor, is the number one rated product. We get affiliate revenue for people clicking through it, and whether they buy our product or any of the other products on the page. But now we're sending outside traffic to Amazon, and getting sales from that is going to help our product rank on Amazon and get a bigger piece of the Amazon pie. So for me, that's revenue opportunity number one from the blog. Yeah.
And the interesting thing, I think, too, with a couple notes. So basically, you're doing kind of like a Wirecutter type thing with tactical, 5 best tactical knives that you can purchase. Kind of aggregating the reviews of the 5 top knives, and then obviously sending them onto an affiliate link, probably to Amazon. A couple things. Number one, kind of my observations is that that's still kind of a pretty easy Google hack right now. Google seems to just ranking for those types of articles seems to be really easy. It's hard, of course, but in terms of relative SEO, I think that's one of the easiest ways to actually get organic traffic from Google. You can kind of voice your opinion whether you agree with whether that's still easy or not. But that's kind of my opinion.
I think it's easy and hard. Let me tell you,
I should say.
Let me tell you the differentiators there. So I think it's hard from the perspective of it requires a lot of work putting the article together. Like you can't. What I've told our guys in the Philippines, what I believe for a long time with SEO, if you have, and especially as time goes by, it gets harder and harder to rank for anything because there's more and more competition all the time. So in order to be number one, like you have to legitimately have the best article.
Yes.
Exponentially better than anybody else to be able to like literally get to number one. Yeah. And so that's the approach we've taken. The majority of the articles out there are stock photos off of Amazon. Either people are taking the photo right off of Amazon or off the manufacturer's website, and writing 10 sentences or 5 sentences about the product. And they legitimately like never even buy it or hold it. And they're writing a review that's just all BS. It's just all fluff. We've taken the approach of, again, we're buying the products. We then ship them to the Philippines. And because we have a whole team there, we can execute this. We have one person or one department, our graphics department, takes multiple photos at different angles with the products. And then the person writing the article actually will go use the product. And sometimes it requires like a camping trip or something for some of these articles. They like literally go out of the office and use them. And we take them more lifestyle photos of it in the field. And then they actually write a legitimate review based on the quality and what they're seeing, and they can actually write real pros and cons. So that part's harder because that's a lot of work. It takes, we're only able to generate 2 or 3 of these types of articles per month, mixed in with our other content stuff because we are putting so much effort into it. So that's the hard part. The easy part is letting Google do its thing after that, which is, I do believe that stuff percolates to the top over time way easier, as you were alluding to, because it is the best content. And not only do you rank in Google search, but also in Google image as well, Google Images as well, which is another big component to SEO. People don't think about a lot. So our images will start to show up as well, and people will find our content and articles by doing that. That is, that's the easier part, is just kind of being patient and waiting for those articles to start to rank.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is too, again, none of us knows Google's algorithm, but I do think that once Google places you in an e-commerce kind of bucket, your ability to rank for those types of articles is a lot harder. I think that's where what you've done with Tactical, what I'm trying to do with off-roading, building kind of a content site away from your e-commerce site gets you away from being in that e-commerce bucket, and it makes it a lot easier to rank than if you're trying to sell this on a strictly e-commerce site. Hey, the 5 best, if you're selling garlic presses, 5 best garlic presses. Of course, Google is going to give a bias there that you must be ranking your garlic press number 1. This is a biased resource, and they're going to penalize you in your rankings for that. So I think trying to stay away from doing this on your own e-commerce site is going to definitely give you a lot of advantages trying to rank this type of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. So that's opportunity number one. Opportunity two for us, I see with Tactical, are courses, which is very similar to what we've done, obviously, with EcomCrew, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit as well. But we're in the process already of developing some courses that are tactical minded, like how to prepare a bug out bag or things of this nature. And if you ever listen to the episode that we did with Dan Fagella, this is actually where this, like, it wasn't where the idea came from, but this is the methodology that we're going to use, because it was like, well, this is way easier than the way that I was going to go about it. His method was just like, duh. So we're in the process right now of working to get these influencers to help us with this. And it's working so well because we're already contacting influencers right now anyway for launching all these products. It's a part of our Amazon launch strategy, and our course that we have is to get influencers to help launch our products on Amazon. So when our products come in, we get the first 10 samples. Or actually, I just sent you a picture, Dave, right before this podcast of the new things that we're launching here. So we always get 10 samples now airshipped ahead of our containers. So we have them here and get them in influencers' hands. And while we're talking to these influencers, it's like, oh, hey, by the way, can you produce content for our courses? So that's something else that we're going to be working on. And these partnerships work really well as a two-way street. So we're paying them, they're helping us launch products, et cetera, et cetera. We could potentially get them to write for our site later. But we own the courses at that point. We're just paying them for the videos that they're going to do, producing 10 to 15, maybe 20 videos from these people that are literally, I mean, what I would call subject matter experts. I mean, just being definitive about, these are ex-military guys, people that are way smarter and into this stuff than I am. I don't have to be an expert in it. I have these guys that'll do it relatively cheap, produce these videos. Now I have courses that I can sell on tactical.com. And we have success, obviously, doing that already from Coloring Club and EcomCrew experience doing all this. But it isn't necessarily just a sale that I'm looking for getting that is what I'm doing there. Like, it's not in a vacuum. It's also now someone that pays money to become a member of that course. A lot of the products that we have can be recommended within that course. So they go buy the products. Or I now have people on my email list that have already given me money that are going to trust recommendations that I make. So it also helps with like this whole ecosystem of selling products. And that's, to me, like how it really ties into e-commerce.
Yeah. And I guess just to give a quick summary of Dan's process that he was doing. He was basically, like Mike said, finding a knowledge expert in a particular field, and then they would do all the course content. You would own the content, and then you're basically free to sell that content. And of course, if you're not an expert in a particular field, Mike's probably not an expert in tactical. I'm not an expert in off-roading products. So being able to hire a knowledge expert like that, they can basically do the content for you. You pay them a consulting fee or however their fee structure is, basically an hourly rate. And then you get all that content, which is yours for life. They're happy. They're getting a really nice hourly rate, more than they would probably get speaking to 10 people in some conference room. And you, of course, get that content.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely going to be really good for us. And I'm excited about doing that. It's also something else I can market because we're good at Facebook ads as well. So it's something else a way to get people in the door that way.
Yeah.
And then the last thing for us is the memberships. We're also going to be offering a membership, which will include, something like literally like a membership card. We'll have a card that we mail people, but it'll offer discounts on products. So we'll work with people to get discounts. The one thing that we're really going to work on is building behind a firewall or a password protected website with deals for things in the tactical space that we both can get through wholesale agreements and also through things on AliExpress. So people, most people don't know that AliExpress even exists. So it's basically like a Costco type thing for online for specific curated products that we'll buy, test, make sure they're good, and then offer those to our members for some type of low membership fee of maybe even $10 a year to start with. It doesn't really have to be a large amount, but again, you get them to give you money, which helps with the micro commitment trust levels, and then be able to sell them other products later. And some of those products can be your own products as you're launching products on Amazon. If you think about this, if you have 1,000, 10,000 members or whatever, paying you $10 a year, that's $100K a year. It adds up pretty quick. That's not an insignificant amount of money. But these are people that if you have a deal, 40% off of your new tactical widget as you're launching on Amazon, whatever percentage of people buy that, they're getting a deal. They're happy. They're curated private members that aren't a part of some like stupid review group that's going to cause you problems. It's a completely white hat. It's your own group of people that you're offering these products to. It's another amazing way to be able to launch e-commerce products that other people just don't have a leg up on you on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's still a lot of value in that for people just being part of an exclusive club. I mean, I think that's where a lot of things like these work. People just kind of want the VIP treatment. In China, I was in China for 7 months, and the Chinese, just for everything, they always have a VIP club. It doesn't matter if it's a coffee shop or a restroom or whatever. They have a VIP club for everything because people want that prestige and just being different than the rest. So even if, necessarily the value add is not significant, there's always going to be a percentage of people that will pay just to be kind of ahead of the pack and separated from the rest of everyone else. Yeah,
exactly. So that's my tactical plan. Did you have anything else to add to it there?
No, actually, I'm curious to see what you're doing with Coloring Club.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just same type of thing. Yeah, the results have been amazing. We have 1,000 members for that now. We're using it more and more as a top of funnel conversion strategy. So again, people that are more in the downloadable stuff versus physically buying something. So like again, you got the revenue is not, it's $5,000 a month. I mean, it's not something that's like seems crazy, but like it's the same as selling $50,000 a product every month, which is not insignificant. It's $600,000 a year. It's the same thing as selling $600,000 a year in physical products is what it comes down to, with a lot less hassle and stress. But again, it's just another way to get people into our ecosystem, which to me is the most important thing, because people that are a member of Coloring Club are going to be way more likely to buy our gel pens or our pencils or our paper, or maybe one of our books someday. It's obviously the idea would be to get them to buy physical books, but they, even if they're coloring with paper that they print out of their printer at home, they still need gel pens and they still need pencils, and it's way easier to sell to them. We say it's our sister company, and those conversions do very, very well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I poked around Coloring Club. I think you do it in a really in a nice way. I'm curious, how do you do it with WordPress?
It's not WordPress. It's actually on ClickFunnels. Yeah.
Is it really?
So the content's on WordPress. So there's a blog on Coloring Club as well, which we're working on ranking organically for a lot of other terms, which is working well. But the site itself, the whole sales process and the membership area is through ClickFunnels.
Okay, interesting. And if you don't have anything else to add there, I wonder perhaps we could give kind of some tips and tricks that we've learned doing different paid content and digital products.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting because you started out with Teachable, right? No,
I didn't. I started off with the WordPress plugin, which was an absolute nightmare.
No kidding. I didn't even know about that.
And we talked about this when we launched on ClickFunnels. We had a huge issue with people signing up and they wouldn't get their login and passwords. And you might even be listening to the show if you signed up during our first EcomCrew course where you didn't get your membership information immediately. And that was the exact same problem I went through with the WordPress plugin, where it was just a real pain in the butt because people would sign up and they just wouldn't get their login information immediately. And of course, people pay money and they want immediate access. And it was just a huge customer service nightmare. So that was kind of my takeaway, is that I love WordPress to death. But in terms of an actual platform for hosting any paid content, I probably wouldn't recommend it. Maybe the software has changed now. Maybe there's something better out there. I was using kind of the top of the top in terms of a WordPress course plugin, and still it really struggled.
Yeah, this is where Abby cues up the circus music, right? It was pretty much exactly how it was. To me, it's embarrassing because I'm the guy that likes everything to be perfect, and I want to treat people like I like to be treated. And if someone just pays us $500 for a course and then they don't get the login right away, that's not the experience that we want to create, and that's exactly what was happening. So the ultimate result is we switched to Kajabi to host everything, which has been really awesome. But as every other SaaS that exists out there, there's advantages and disadvantages with every single one of these things. So where Kajabi is really strong, other things are or where it's weak, I should say, other things are stronger, and vice versa. Kajabi is really amazing at like the actual like back end. So I mean, I think that people that are now members of our course, like it's really easy to navigate our courses. It's laid out like really well. It's something that I'm really proud of now versus when it was in ClickFunnels, it was a little chintzy. Let's just be honest. I mean, the content, it's the same content, but like the presentation sometimes, it's just like the reason we spend all this money and time doing packaging with our e-commerce products, right? I mean, this is just as important as the content. And so I'm way happier with that. Kajabi does a really great job with pipelines, whether it's giving out lead magnets or doing webinars and things like that. Where it sucks is email and analytics.
Yes, the analytics, which I even forgot about that one. So with Kajabi, everything Mike mentioned, fantastic landing pages, page builders, in terms of actual course backend and platform, beautiful. But their email is. It can't replace something like MailChimp even, or something more sophisticated like Drip. And like Mike mentioned, there's really no analytics. So you don't know where people are buying from. You don't know how they got there. You don't know what point of the checkout process they abandon it. But everything aside from that, it's perfect. But I think that's where, when you're evaluating these different platforms and course platforms, you always got to figure out, okay, where is this really going to struggle? Because it's always easy to see the best features of a product, but then you always have to ask yourself, okay, what sucks in it? And they don't advertise that. That's a problem. And the only way that you can figure that out is through talking to other people that have used it, reading different blogs and articles on the internet, and sometimes just getting in there and finding out on your own.
Yeah, definitely. And that's kind of what happened with us. We kind of figured it out on our own. But I mean, I would say overall, like I'm pretty damn happy with Kajabi at this point.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine switching at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they are probably one of the best SaaS products actually I've probably experienced in a long, long time.
Yeah,
I would say they're like the Shopify of course platforms right now.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. So, cool. So yeah, I guess the last thing we want to talk about here. So if you're not interested in a sales pitch, you can move on to the next podcast. But we did want to talk a little bit about what we're doing with EcomCrew and kind of the life cycle of that here. So for those of you who are familiar who've actually purchased our courses in the past to this point, which we've had an overwhelming amount of support, it's been very humbling actually. More than anything, the comments we've gotten have been, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of a little bit of an emotional guy, so I read some of these comments and it just gives me like warm fuzzies. You see people, just saying these awesome things that have helped their business, and it makes me feel really good that like we can do that. And that's probably what drives me to do this more than anything else, to continue the podcast, to go speak at these events, and to put the effort into recording courses. So that's definitely been really rewarding and cool. But there's been some, I don't know, like it's not disjointed, but like we released 3 courses to this point, and we're working on a 4th one now. And every time we release one, it's another fee. What are we going to charge for it? And there's been some other things that we've wanted to add into it. So Dave and I like made the bold executive decision while we were in Asia, and we're just rolling this out now to do something called EcomCrew Premium, which is going to be at ecomcrew.com/premium. And the whole idea here is just like one flat fee for everything that we've ever done, everything that we will do, and also some additional content that we're going to be providing moving forward, like webinars and things of that nature. But basically, for $159 a month, if you go month to month, or $79 a month if you sign up for a year, you'll get access to all of our courses that we've done. So it doesn't put the pressure on you to have to continue to buy more courses and keep sinking more money into it. It's I think just the best value we can possibly do. And whatever courses you need at the time that you need them, they're there for you, along with the talks that I've done at events and that Dave's done. We're going to move those into the paid area, not have those there for free anymore, because they're worth a lot of money just on their own. But the real value add that we're putting into this now is a twice monthly webinar where Dave and I will be talking about like specific things that are happening in our business, which no one else is doing. Like just full disclosure. Here's the products we launched this month. Here's what our sales have been, and going over those things, plus having a Q&A. So any questions that you have at that time, you can ask them on the webinar, and we'll stay to the bitter end trying to answer those questions for you. And then obviously we still have the all access email support. So overall, I think it's a pretty amazing value, and that's what we're doing for our digital product strategy with EcomCrew specifically. And I don't know, it's pretty cool. Like I'm excited to see what happens from here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is we've kind of realized, aside from courses, the biggest value add that the most impact that we can make on people is through our support. And that's always been kind of our big selling features, that we have one-on-one unlimited support. So any question people have, they can contact us through email. Doesn't matter about if it's picking a product or launching on Amazon or basically anything business related. We get a lot of interesting questions. And so allowing people to kind of go on a monthly plan, people might be in the earlier stages of launching their e-commerce company. And so every month they have a question and therefore they probably want to stay on board for indefinitely. And then maybe people just need some really pinpoint help on a particular part of their business. They can join for a month and cancel after every month if they want. But hopefully they figure out that we're giving continuous value and it's worth it just to kind of stay on indefinitely as well, kind of on a monthly membership.
Yeah. I mean, I think the questions that we get asked the most, it's always like that reassurance type question. It's like, I'm evaluating these products. Like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And obviously we've evaluated a lot of products and niches. So for us, it's quite easy to be like, here's the 3 reasons why I think that this is actually a bad idea or why it's a good idea, whatever it might be. And just knowing that before you sink, 4 or 5 figures into a product that you're getting ready to launch, having some reassurance that's probably the number one question we get. Some other things we get is just like, we had a question, just some simple things like, it's like, how do I add a Facebook pixel to the Gleam contest? It's something that did take us days to kind of figure out, going back and forth with support because I didn't know how to do it. But now that I do, it's just a simple, like, here you go. Or so it could be something as simple as that when you get stuck with things. So there's all kinds of things that come through question wise. But for me, it's fun answering that stuff because we know that we're helping people.
Yeah, and I know. I think we take it for granted now. We're old dogs, I guess, old salty dogs, and we really benefit where we've kind of built our e-commerce networks for both of us 10 years plus now, and we always have somebody we can ask about things. But if you don't have anybody kind of in the e-commerce spirit to just kind of toss the single idea off and get their opinion on it, it's really tough. And hopefully for people $79 a month, that's what they get, is they get our ears and our mouth also to give our 2 cents on it.
Yeah. I mean, what ends up happening in these situations, I know I've taken this type of thing for granted. When you're doing this stuff day in and day out for 15 years, it doesn't seem like what you're doing is like, and I'm like this all the time. And you're always telling me that's really interesting or you're like, that's like really cool. You should share that stuff more. To me, it's just like not even a big deal in any way, shape or form, because it's just kind of been my life. And one day at a time when you're doing this stuff, it doesn't seem like much of anything because it's kind of been your life. But the times that I realize that we do have a lot to share, number one, when we hire a new employee, when you're trying to like explain all this crap to like we have a new marketing manager who is one of the best employees like I've ever had in my life anywhere ever. I mean, she's amazing. And like trying to like do a brain dump from my head to her head is still like just exhausting because there's just so much that's happened in our business and so many things that I need to explain to her and try to implement in our business. And that's when I really realized like all the little things that we're doing here that are high level and the like amount of detail it takes to get it executed properly and right. That's when you really realize like all the things that are out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think just being able, like we mentioned, just being able to be that conduit for people to get an answer to, whether it's one question or a question a month that they have. And hopefully we're able to kind of lean on that experience that we've built. And the best part is you get me and Mike. Yep. So if you stump one of us, we can assign that ticket to the other. Yeah,
it's hard to stump Dave though.
Oh, well, it's impossible, but
Nice. All right. Well, we're past our budget for time for today. So I want to thank people for sticking around for a little bit longer than usual. Again, you can go to ecomcrew.com/premium to sign up for the new subscription model. Again, it includes all of our courses that we've done so far, the courses that we'll be releasing in the future. The next one that we're going to be working on actually is going to be on Facebook Messenger. So that one's going to be coming out in June. So you'll get access immediately once that's out. Again, the webinars. So it's just going to be for people who are in EcomCrew Premium only. So we're going to be showing behind the scenes stuff that no one else is going to see, specific products we're launching, the dollars and everything behind them, ad campaigns that we're doing, full behind the scenes of Terran, which is our parent company, and also some of the stuff that Dave's doing over at Off-Roading, and then all the email support that you need. and then Q&A during the webinar. So it's a lot. I think it's a great value. It's awesome value when you compare it to we were charging $9.97 for the Amazon course alone. So you get all this other stuff basically for free, and everything else we're doing. So definitely go check out ecomcrew.com/premium. Dave, again, want to thank you, man, for doing the show with me today, and look forward to having you on more podcasts here over the next few months now that we're back in the same time zone.
Absolutely. You can count on it.
All right. Awesome, man. Take it easy.
Yep. You too.
And that's a wrap. Just as a reminder, you can go to ecomcrew.com/148 to get to the show notes for this episode. And one more plug for EcomCrew Premium. It includes all of the courses that we've done so far, which is our Importing from China course, how to build a 7-figure brand, and how to launch a new #1 bestseller product on Amazon, the White Hat Way, completely white hat. And our future courses, the next one coming out is going to be on Facebook Messenger. Also includes monthly webinars, email access to both Dave and I, and a whole bunch more stuff that we're going to be doing. ecomcrew.com/premium to sign up today. The price for that is an introductory price. We're going to be raising that in the future. So go sign up for that while the price is still at the introductory price. We look forward to having you there. If you're already a subscriber to one of the EcomCrew courses, just email support@ecomcrew.com and we'll give you a special upgrade offer for a huge discount. So ecomcrew.com/premium. And I want to thank you guys for supporting the EcomCrew podcast and EcomCrew Premium and everything else we do here. We really appreciate it. Again, it's super humbling. All the things that you guys have said that we've been doing, it really keeps us going. And I want to thank you guys for that. So until the next episode, happy selling, and we'll talk to you then.
Thanks for listening to the EcomCrew podcast. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/EcomCrew for weekly live recordings of the EcomCrew podcast every Monday. And please do us a favor and leave an honest review on iTunes. It would really help us out. Again, thanks for listening. And until next week, happy selling.